so this one was supposed to be Mariah Carey All I Want for Christmas, but Mariah fell down the stairs. Um, during recording, I feel like they didn't do the stairs bit long enough. I'm sorry. I know we're only a minute and 44 seconds into it, but I don't know if I could listen to 44. I'm sorry. 3 more minutes. 2 more minutes and one. Anyway, I can't, I'm struggling to do it because I keep forgetting that a minute is 60 seconds, not 99. And so I'm just like, okay, wait. So 44 minus 60 is 16 and uh 6, so 3 minutes, 2 minutes and 16 seconds. That's how it looks. All right, maybe a little longer than that. I don't know. I'm not doing this math today. All right, it's not happening. But hi everybody, it's me, Charlie. Oh my god, my bags say I try to do extra hard in the morning on like the cold stuff. Like I put my I do a face mask. I leave on face mask after I get out of the shower. And so what I do is when I get before I get in the shower, I turn the water on. I turn the water on in the shower. Then I take my face mask and my a wet cloth, and it's so cold outside that I just put it out in the window and I close the window. And so that like really chills it out while I'm trying to, shower, and like I deep condition my hair while I'm in the shower. And then I get out, I add a little bit more conditioner in my hair. I put a layer of I'm sorry. I put the cold rag on my face because while I'm in the shower, I exfoliate and clean the skin. And so that means I need the pores open to clean them out. Then when I get out of the shower, I use the cold rag and the cold lotion and the cold face mask to close the pores. The cold rag closes the first layer of pores so I don't get lotion in the pore. And then the cold face mask goes over top of the lotion to put all the moisture in. That's my skin routine. That's why I'm 35 and just now getting wrinkles. Can't stop looking at it. Right here is really rough on me too. But anyway, they don't. It's not that they like. It's not that I don't like wrinkles. It's just that I'm not used to seeing it. Like I'm used to like looking at myself all the time, being like a streamer, and I'm just now like, oh, I didn't notice that before. When did that happen? Like this little dimple down here. How long have those been there? But anyway, hi, it's me, Charlie, and today is lo-fi back on. And today we're gonna get back to green stuffing and filing the truggles. So this is where we got to yesterday. I did manage to fill in the first layer of green stuff. On all of these, there's still a few of them where I'm like, damn, it needs a lot of work. I feel like I'm yelling at So yeah, we got through like the first little bit. And like, thank you so much. I wish you could see how far apart these gaps are, but they're looking a lot better. We've got our file. We've got our X-Acto knife. And we've got our mold line scraper. And I did notice there were a few mold lines on some of these. So what I might do is before I put on the next layer of next layer of green stuff, I'm going to go through and get any of the mold lines and the larger clips that I did not clip off. I think that's what they're called. Clips, pegs, whatever. And then I'm going to go back through and green stuff. Yeah. I smoked the bowl before I got on stream. That's why I wasn't smoking it now. Normally I do. Well, okay, so it is not 42 out. You're a liar, Winter. No, that is not, no. There's no way it's 42 degrees out. I went out to the bus stop today and it was like 28. Loading. It says it's 40 degrees. I don't know how much I agree with that. Ooh, we're supposed to get snow Friday. Yeah, it doesn't say like what it feels. Oh, feels like 34. Okay, that's more accurate. Yeah, it was like 28 when I went to the bus stop this morning. And as we were walking there, it started to rain, like a few drops at a time. Once the kids got on the bus and the bus started pulling away, it was like coming down pretty hard. And it's been like that for most of the morning. My dogs won't go outside. Oh, what I was saying is, it's still too cold in here. Off my sweater. My sweater is in the way of what I'm doing. Oh, I gotta dribble some more. What I need is a stirring. Alright, mold line scraper. I wasn't even supposed to touch the green stuff. I already forgot my game plan. I'm like 30 seconds in. Well, 21 minutes in. I can hit it with. Hey, that line is like right on the. Some of these mold lines are like right on like the rock or the point of the rock, the part where they meet up, the apex. The apex. God, I was watching. There's this kids show. It's called Blaze, and they're monster trucks, but they don't call them monster trucks. They call them something else. No, that's Mickey and the Roadster Racer. I forget what they call themselves, but they have like songs in most of the episodes, and some of them are actually like pretty good. There's one that's, I don't know all the lyrics, but it sounds like it's trying to be like Fall Out Boy, but like it's about the apex, the highest point, because they're trying to throw like pillows over like a thing. So it's like the apex, highest, or something to like that effect. It's so funny, but like it's really catchy, and I think that's even the funnier bit. It's gonna be stuck in my head for a while. This a war band? I don't know. This is the Trogoth. Also, hi EJ. The Trogoth Trog herd. Hold on, wait. I have the box somewhere. I had the box. This is the Dawnbringers Gloomspike gets Trugs Great Trog Herd. So we have a Trogoth army of Trogs that are also a Trug herd. Trog herd. Herd. So this is what this is. It's been a nightmare. Let me tell you, these gaps are monstrous, okay? It's been, and it's not me. It's not me. I've been, you know, working my booty off on these, okay? You know, I've been mold line scraping and X-Acto knifing from the beginning, from sprue to snip. And, it's just, I would not recommend this kit to anyone, for real. I love gobos, and I would be like, please avoid that. Please buy that pre-built, and please don't go near it. Alright, no, let's go over here. Like, this is my first layer of green stuff on everything. And the gaps are still, they look so detailed. They are very detailed. But my problem is that because of their detail, you can hear how drastic the seams are. Not even just that butt up against each other, but also like look at these cheeks. They don't look good at all. So like, there's a lot of points where I'm like, this just doesn't look natural. And like, that's one of the things I love about AOS is how like organic the figures look. And I don't mean organic as like they organically belong in the world, but organic as I mean like they have imperfections and curvatures and it's not all right angles. Space pirate, it's space soldiers. What did I do? Oh, is that glue? Fix that later. I'm looking at it again, I'm like, damn, there's so many seams I miss. That was a little winter slush out by you. You guys were... Are these seams on all the maps? No, just this one. Just this one has to have a massive line. A massive mold line. Oh, yes I am.
You gotta be quicker than that.
And the winner is your _pal_blue69 old.
Did you get your half day like you requested? flu. Also, I will be extra old starting Sunday because on Sunday I turn 35. Go me. I did not think I was gonna make it this long. Real. Not yet. Oh. Ooh, you're on the clock. Oh, I want to amend my statement from the Discord earlier where I was like, oh, you know, I wish I could be 23 and single and no kids. I have a correction to that. I was not single at 23 years old. Asking. Yeah, I wasn't single at 23 years old, so if I could go back and be single, I would be. Like, if everything still ended up the same, like, I still met Hobby, we still had our kids, everything like that, but I just got to be single for a little while longer, I think I would have been a lot happier and a little bit more stable. Oh, that's my recommendation. I'm still 22. And I was also not single. Like, I have very rarely had more than a, like, few month gap between partners. In, like, my history. Since, like, 17, I have never been single for longer than, like, a month, maybe 2 months. Maybe 3 for my first boyfriend. No, it was not that long. Till next month. Yeah, and then you and Bitter are the same age. But yeah, I would rather been single and able to travel more if I, like, when I was your age. Like, it, and not because, like, oh, I don't want to share these moments with everybody else. It's more like, it's cheaper, and sometimes you, like, learn more about yourself and are more able to do stuff when you don't have to consider other people's feelings about things you want to do. 23 on January 14th. I'm so excited. You are still Unk. Oh, did you guys hear that, like, Oxford Dictionary's word of the year is, rage bait? Which, I mean, that's fair. I just feel like that's a word that's been around a lot longer than, like, I would say, AI slop should have been the word of the year. Easily.
New York City is nothing without pizza.
Pretty good, New York. That's something I did do a lot. I was like, before I turned 21. So when I was like 19, 20, 21, somewhere in that. I think I turned 21 the year I went to Ireland. So somewhere in there, I spent a lot of time in New York. I love New York. I really do. It's like, it was like my third home away from home because I had Baltimore, which I visited every summer and sometimes just at random because I know the road to New York. I know the road to the Baltimore Inner Harbor, like, better than I know how to get to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is closer. I get, like, close to Philly and I start panicking. I'm like, is this the turn? Is that the bridge? Where's my exit? Oh my god, they don't know how to merge. No one in Philly knows how to merge, okay? We have a joke here in Jersey. We go, if you're from Philly and you drive, you get 2 choices. You either get blinkers or windshield wipers. And you can always tell which one they picked by, if they use their turn signal or not. Everyone everyone says Jersey drivers are bad. We're bad, but like we're bad in like a different way. Like it was like my like nighttime song. That, for those who don't know, is the 6ABC opening new song called I think it's Little Bit of Time. But that is like the 5 o'clock and 11 o'clock news. Very iconic for this South Jersey region. Oh, right. But yeah, I could get to Baltimore in my sleep, you know, no problem whatsoever. I can't get to Philly to save my life. But New York was a close second, or close, I guess, third. But I would go up to Secaucus. I would park there for $20 for 24 hours. I would take the $8 round trip train to Penn Station. That beat was actually dope. It's not bad. It's pretty good. I enjoyed the news when I was a kid. They had like a cute little opening to it that like changed with the season. So like for the winter one, people were like throwing snowballs at each other. And like for the summer one, it was like people at like the water park. In the spring, they did like the Philly flower show. So anyway, yeah, once I got to Penn Station, I basically went wherever I wanted. And like the one thing I always remembered about New York is that it's from a Mitch Hedberg joke, where it's like, I think it's a Mitch Hedberg joke, where it's like, how do you get lost in New York, for talking about like Home Alone? It's a grid system. And it is like up and over. You're on 17th and you want to go to 19th. And like, it's just like, you can figure it out. It's not hard. Like, it drives me nuts. And then the other thing I learned about New York City, aside from how to walk the grid, is you don't stop. Like, if you're walking, you don't stop. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, trying to get into like a store or pass somebody or wait at a crosswalk. You just go, you know? Like, that is probably the most New York thing about New York. And that is something I brought back here to Jersey. Like, if I'm in a verifiable crosswalk and you're coming up too fast, that's a you problem. I hope you got car insurance. Oh, that's just another seam I missed. Look at that. God damn. And not a mold line. This model was awful. Just truly awful. I've managed to make the gaps in the neck look like a double chin. But it's so bad. Get green stuff in. How long should you let green stuff rest? This liquid green stuff dries pretty quick. I usually let my green stuff rest for about, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe. This dries really, really, really fast. I was able to do a partial second coat on almost everything and go over anything I might have missed yesterday, and everything I went over was already dry. So it goes pretty quick. I actually have to add water to my green stuff a lot, because it gets hard really quick. It starts to dry out too easy. So I'll be wetting my brush pretty frequently. I'll be probably dipping some fresh water in here. But yeah, it dries very, very quick. Very, very quick. I'll try to time it if I can. I like the liquid green a lot. The regular putty, I have no idea. I didn't wet my brush. Already fucking up. It's also really malleable, and you can like change the malleability depending on how much water you have in it, how dried out it is. Just put it on. Goes on like nail polish. Biggest thing is that like you just kind of know when to stop, so it's like settled in a place you want, in a way you want it to. Then you can just sand or X-Acto knife off the extra that you don't. First spot I painted, I got 1, 2, 3 wet spots. That was what, like barely a minute? I feel like I'll be out by 1:30. I'm surprised you're not out yet. I would say fully cured or fully dry. I would say maybe like 5 minutes max. Cause like I could paint right over this again, but my brush is a little wet. So that might impact that a little. You do have the ability to smooth over some dry stuff based off of like how wet it is under, how wet your brush. You should go ask your boss in front of all your coworkers if you're getting paid out the vacation time in you. Got 6 sets of wood. I guess it is 11. Spackling. Maybe my new. Do you guys get like a mandatory lunch break or no? Might do 3 coats, especially. Stuff. Might be able to eat. Okay. Just going by fast. Yeah, we get about 30. Yeah. I would say maybe factoring in lunch, it would be like 30. But we'll see. What's your final bet? 1:30 or noon? Do a Price is Right style. Yeah, look, I missed this whole armory. What playlist is this? This is Lo-Fi Girl Christmas. You guys missed my Mariah Carey this one. Although it wasn't that good. Oh, just so you guys know, the bit for the month is every stream will be a different version of Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. Till Christmas, and then it stops. $12.50 or 1. Later? No, you gotta lock it in. Price is Right rules. Can't do this maybe crap. Could you imagine if somebody was on The Price is Right and they'll be like, I will, do maybe $1. $1.50. How many versions of the song is there? Well, these are the meme versions. I found a playlist with 28 of them, but I only need 25, so I can skip some. Like yesterday morning, I'll pull up the one we did yesterday morning. 28, dear God, that doesn't count the 5 I had on a separate playlist. I had started collecting them, and then I happened to stumble upon the playlist. Now, let me pause Coke Christmas. Oh, get out of here. Get out of here, top 100 meme mashup. You're welcome, everybody. You're so welcome. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Now you all have to suffer with that as I have. I don't know if it's suffering, though. Where did I leave off? I was literally about to say that's beautiful. It's really good. I like to collect the meat. I mean, you've seen the playlist I opened. If you haven't, it's on my YouTube page as a public playlist. Although that wasn't very convincing. Like, I feel like if I have to tell you it's fun, maybe it's not, you know? Boy, I really neglected the inside of these fists. Might be able to guys that see like a trapezoid. Or whatever that muscle is called. Wait, a trapezoid is like a geometric shape, right? Not the muscle.
Christ, there's a boomer around here.
You know how like there's a bunch of different like generations, right? And everybody's got a name. Like we're the millennials, begrudgingly as we've been dubbed that. But like I also like to think that we were like the abandoned generation, you know? Just kind of left to our own devices with all these social media apps and electronic devices, and you know, we never really had any guidance on anything, and everybody was like, I did it when I was your age, so why can't you do it? Kind of what I feel like. I'm Gen Z. Yeah, and one day you'll be saying the same thing I am. We were promised the world as kids. Guess that's my own fault for... You know who I feel bad for? Immigrants. Because, like, they were told, hey, if you come to America, you can get a better life for you and your family. And then, now we just shit and piss all over them. It's such bullshit. I'll find the fountain of youth and only tell bitter. That'll be funny. It'll be really funny when we mod bitter before you. This is surprisingly getting better and better. So good at this. Praise me. Oh, that part will definitely get covered up by like that part. Fallout do we have? 2? 1? Are 8 episodes in a season or 10? One more left? Okay. Gotta figure out when we can watch it. I think the season starts soon, right? Like the 11th? Like the 14th or something? Okay. Got like 2 weeks. My prediction for season 2 is that they're going to House to try to get him to do the cold ship. Help humanity. My prediction is Gamora. That is the Gamora casino. Yeah, that's fair. That's a good prediction. I will be very upset if Victor's not in it. I'm not gonna lie. I like high key. Although you said you saw in this, you thought you saw in the trailer like the Securitron, upgraded Securitron faces. Yeah, MK2. Okay. That probably means House might still be around. I bet it is the wild card ending. No, it couldn't be the wild card ending if you did the MK2s. I think it'll show his face on the monitor. Yeah. Yeah, they wouldn't have hired, I guess for flashbacks. Yeah, they wouldn't have hired an actor to do your House if they weren't going to, like, something with him this season. You know? With the flashbook, it would be actual him. Oh yeah, that's right. Unless the ghoul met him again in New Vegas before New Vegas was like ruined. I know the Kings and the teaser posters that were released were all, like, dead. Which would make me a little sad. Because those were pretty cool. Like, they didn't have to suffer. I wonder if the followers of the apocalypse are like there. Do we know what year it is? Fine. I don't know. They looked like more like skulls. I wonder if Vault 22 will make an appearance. It's after. Yeah, I know, because we learned that Shady Sands was bombed in 2277. Which is funny because, wait, that's like 200 years after the bombs fell, like, to the day. Or I guess to the year. Like 2077, right? When the bombs fell? I meant more like, do we know, like, an exact year? Because, like, if they were ghoulified, I want to know how long it took, you know? And, like, Thaddeus, he's a ghoul now. So, like, does that mean the snake oil salesman has access to the same drugs that Hancock took? Yeah, 2077. Good as I'm gonna get before. Oh, I forgot the top of the fin. Heart ghoul, I guess. Well, does Hancock have all the benefits of being a ghoul? Yeah, he definitely does. So, I mean, yeah, you could be part ghoul. Just, like, curious, you know, like, how long does for all this stuff to happen? Because, like, I always just assumed ghouls were, you know, all from when the bombs fell, and, like, their, like, noses, like, came off was, like, from, like, their, like, flesh melting off when the bombs fell. But, like, after seeing what happened to Thaddeus, I'm like, oh, maybe it's just, like, because it's the way the scar was on his neck. Oil Man is mysterious. Yeah, he is. My brain broke. But after watching Thaddeus take that arrow, after watching Thaddeus get cursed, I was like, oh, well, maybe their noses came off from eventual, like, wear down of the nose from, like, dust and time and stuff like that, since the nose is, like, all cartilage. And then I was like, well, wouldn't that happen to the ears, too? I think ghouls have ears. Eddie Winter is a pre-war ghoul who did experimental ghoulification. Yes, that I remember too. But he's like he's a pre-war ghoul. Hancock became a ghoul post-war, but also like way post bomb dropping. Like when he was like 23. And like Mayor McDonough was probably around the same. Alright, now that I'm done the big boy. Look at these guys. Although I kind of have to run inside and use the bathroom. So I might go do that. Or I bust into all these before I take on these 6 trolls at once. 6 trolls, 1 streamer. I'm really glad I didn't just accidentally spill my freaking water. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Alright. I have a whole bowl I packed here and didn't even smoke. Alright. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'm gonna grab a sneak. And, I'll get right back to these boys. Troll boys. Trogoths. Trogoths. Frogists. Froggers. Foggers. Oh god. I'll be right back. That reminded me of Charles Entertainment Cheese saying poggers. Pogger. Alright. I made tea. It's so cold out. Ooh. Cold out. Rain and snow ahead. I got crackers. Oh, the special election in Tennessee is today. I can't wait to see notes on what that might be.
There is a new sign for President Trump
Hi, Blue.
and
Did anybody get first yet?
Party, and it's a warning. A fresh poll from Gallup is out that could put Republicans on shaky ground in the midterms if the president's approval rating is an indicator of how they'll do. CNN's chief data analyst, Harry Enton, is here. All right, give us the goods on what this new Gallup poll says.
I mean, it's a disaster if it holds towards the midterm elections. And I should note, of course, it's not alone. I mean, just take a look here. This is Gallup. This is the longest running poll. You know, Gallup has been conducting polls since my father was a kid, and my father was born in 1920.
Let's talk elections. And then we looked up like how many other presidents had like lower poll numbers, and Trump is like the worst poll numbers since like FDR in the first half of his second term.
Had me in the 60s. Look at this.
Like he's the most negative any president has been, the fastest.
In January, Donald Trump's net approval rating, not too bad, not too great. It was at -1 point, right within the margin of error, breaking even. But look at now. -24 points, way down. We're talking about a drop of over 20 points in the wrong direction for the President of the United States. -24 points, that's a 23-point move in the incorrect direction if you're the president. And of course, what's so important here, Sarah Seidner, is it matches the trend that we've seen with other polls. That is Donald Trump hitting his low for the second term. I was doing the count last night. I think we're up to 10 polls in sort of the last 40 days, 10 different pollsters who have said that Trump is at the lowest point he is in his second term.
So how does this compare to other presidents in their...
I'll let her answer that. I'll let him answer that in a second. What I did want to say was that
second term at this point in time?
Yeah, okay. So, you know, this is one of these great examples where I kind of run out of room on the slide.
You sure did.
Yeah, I run out of room on the slide, so I just put up the Republican presidents. But look, the only one who's worse for me, either among Republicans or Democrats at this point in second term, is Richard Nixon. And of course, Richard Nixon had to wave adios amigos goodbye less than a year after this poll was taken. He was at -36 points. Trump at -24 points. That beats, or is worse, I should say, beats in the wrong direction.
Does anybody see how good Jimmy Kimmel's still doing? I watched his video from last night, the upload of his monologue, and I watched it this morning.
Phil Murphy. We're from Jersey, baby. And you're not.
I gotta put the fuller clip in there, I think. I need the little bit of the rap, especially compared to like how long the Philly clip is. But Jimmy Kimmel's still pulling like over 1 million views a video. It's crazy. In like less than 8 hours. Stephen Colbert, over 1 million views in less than 8 hours. Overnight. That's the thing too that gets me. This is overnight shit. Like, they upload that video around the time I go to bed, so like right after it airs. And then when I wake up at, 6:25 and I'm getting myself ready in the morning, it's already been up. Like, for 8 hours, and it's got over 1 million views. So that's like people in other countries, that's people who are going to bed late or getting up early, all watching that. It's not even counting people in the middle of the day. Wild.
George W. Bush, minus 19 points. His Republican Party, of course, suffered major losses in the 2006 midterm elections. Dwight Eisenhower, plus 31 points. Donald Trump has never smelt that at all. I had to go into the archives to dig up that photo. And Ronald Reagan at plus 41 points. But again, it also is worse than Harry S. Truman. It's worse than Lyndon Baines Johnson. It's worse than Barack Obama. It's worse than Bill Clinton. Anywhere you look, this is the second worst for a president of either party at this point in their second term, dating all the way back since the 1940s.
Wow. All right. Look, what does this mean for the midterms? Because are you seeing a trend?
Unless something like drastic happens between now and November of last year, like I'm talking like major party shift, like, or like a billion lawsuits and a bunch of other stuff, like, oh, oh, I think next year is gonna be a bloodbath. Not a bloodbath, but like terms of like anything harmful, but like in terms of like the amount of people that are gonna show up to vote. I think it's gonna be a very, very large turnout election year.
And it's linked to how people feel about the president.
Yeah.
Especially once we see how Afton does today. I didn't spell Tennessee right. Tell you where it is on a map, but I can't. Oh, I did spell it right. Baby. And you're not. Just see. I'm assuming polls close at like 8 or 9. What am I saying? Um, I'm Batman. Ooh, ooh. I could have done a better Batman. I could have done a better politics. Election results. There we go. Oh, New Jersey's got two. Oh my god, New Jersey has an election today and I didn't even notice. Two Democratic counts. Oh, it's probably for Jersey City. Never mind. Batman is secretly Iron Mouse. I believe it. I didn't need to. Time to polls close. Anywhere just in-person election voting at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So, I will I will be keeping an eye on this on the Discord. Um, Jesus Christ, look how they carved this up. Holy. I'm very interested. Plays out.
So, we always say, hey, look, we still got 11 months until the midterm elections. That's forever in politics. So I decided to go back and look at this point in the second term. What happened? What was the
I feel like elections started to become more and more. I feel like elections started to be taken more and more seriously. Either I think it was for me personally, it was Romney versus Obama. I was very concerned. But Obama ended up winning, and then I I feel like a lot of people really got invested in the 2016 election, whether it was for Bernie or Hillary or Trump. I just feel like a lot of people were invested in it. They might send us home at lunch. Oh, nice. That'd be good. Yeah, instead of giving you a half hour for lunch, just send you home at lunch. Um, but I feel like a lot of people started paying more and more attention to politics after 2016, especially after like Hillary Clinton lost. Now I feel like it's even more so, like more and more people care, more and more people want to talk politics, you know. And I'm glad about that. We only got 3 sets of wood left. Yeah, that makes sense. It's yeah, if lunchtime would be at noon and you've got like 3 sets of wood left, you might as well send everybody home today.
trend line heading into the midterm elections? Were there any presidents who saw their net approval ratings rise by more than 5 points? Well, guess what, Sarah Sider? You go all the way back since Harry S. Truman. 0 out of 8 times did the president's net approval rating rise by over 5 points. And of course, Donald Trump, right now on Gallup, minus 24 points. He's in the minus teens according to the average. If he does not see a rise of more than 5 points, see you later, that Republican majority. It has never happened. Of course, we live in such a weird time in politics.
Are in a
Who
weird
knows?
time.
We live in a weird time,
We
but
are.
he's going to have to break history, Sarah Sider.
All right, we will have to see, Mr. Harry Enton.
We will see.
The latest Gallup poll numbers are in, and they do not bode well for President Trump. The president's job approval rating
it's
has
not.
fallen to 36%.
I mean, we went over this yesterday on stream. It's not looking good, like, at all. Like, 6 in 10 Americans you meet on the street will say, Donald Trump's not doing good. I'm not happy with what's going on. 6 people you meet on the street, okay? That's wild. That's so many more Americans than agree on, like, most things. Like, we can rarely get out of, like, the 50 range when we're agreeing on shit, right?
The lowest of his second term. Meanwhile, his disapproval rating rose to 60%. For comparison, Trump's all-time low was 34% at the end of his first term following the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Gallup's latest numbers are from a poll conducted during what became the longest federal government shutdown in U.S. history. Here to break that down for us and more is our political panel. Brian Tyler Cohen is the host of the No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen podcast.
Sorry, I don't support DNC chills. I wanted to pop one.
Polls now open for Tennessee's 7th congressional district, the election that is such a special election. You've got political heavyweights coming in town from all across the country. It is typically a very deep red congressional district that is up for grabs. President Trump, for example, carried it by 22 points last year. But Democratic leaders have a real chance here. They are rallying around Afton Bain, who has turned her messaging to affordability and the skyrocketing cost of living. The race is close, so close that House Speaker Mike Johnson has been on the ground campaigning with the Republican candidate Matt Van Epps, and the president chimed in by phone. CNN Washington Bureau Chief David.
You don't usually see speakers of the House in D.C. see going to like local elections, especially like a special election in like a off year because somebody retired. Like you don't see that.
The Chalian is breaking down what you should be watching in Tennessee today.
Sarah, as you noted, just over a year ago, Donald Trump won this district in Tennessee by 22 points. So why are we even talking about this? How could this be competitive? Well, the reason both parties are spending millions of dollars on this race is because today's political climate and in an off-year special election can produce a very different electorate. And this is what we...
Hi, Bitter. Blue's about to get off work for the day. I'm glad you're here. I just wrapped smoking a bowl and eating some crackers. And then we were gonna get back to green stuffing.
we've seen throughout 2025, not just in the November elections in New Jersey and Virginia and New York City, but in special House elections like this one that took place in deep red territory. Democrats are significantly overperforming how Kamala Harris performed in these districts just a year ago. And that's in large part due to opposition to Donald Trump. So Democrats are hoping to ride that wave of enthusiasm and energy in these off-year, off-cycle.
My biggest, like, I've seen a few of her policies. I've seen the way she talks. I don't have an issue with her. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Like, I can understand her criticism of Nashville, because what she said was like, I don't like what tourists think Nashville is. I like, you know, these other things about Nashville. These things don't represent Nashville. And I totally agree with that. That's how I feel about places in New Jersey. I don't like when tourist spots are like what everybody thinks New Jersey is, you know. But my bigger concern is that like Kamala Harris, the head of the DNC, Al Gore, and like one other person are like rallying behind her, and I'm like, oh, this makes me feel weird. And like, I guess the biggest reason it makes me feel is because she's like preaching the same stuff Zora Mamdani did, and they're like riding for her harder than they rode for Zoran. And then like they saw how good Zoran did, but I'm also like, was it Islamophobia? Like, was it because he's Muslim? Because like, why? If he's got the same policies as her, why did you learn your lesson? If you did, you should admit it rather than like, you know, completely ignore somebody who won under your ticket.
Elections in order to produce upsets. Now, if the Democrat Afton Bain were to win here, it would be a political earthquake. So this is still a very tough climb for Democrats. But even if it is within single digits, that is going to be a warning shot to Republicans as we prepare to turn the calendar to 2026 and the midterm elections, and they try to hang on to their House majority. I will also note one thing else, that if indeed the Democrat were to shock the world with a victory, that would take a potential vote away from Mike Johnson in his very narrow majority in the House. He's got 219 Republicans right now. He can only afford to lose 2 Republicans on any party line vote. He'd like one more for a little cushion, and that's what a Republican victory would deliver to the Speaker today.
David Chalian, you're the best. Thank you so much. Joining us right now, our Democratic strategist Megan Hayes and Republican strategist Doug Hyde, two of the best.
I'm still eating crackers.
Oof, this is MAGA Mike Johnson, the Republican
Oof.
in Tennessee, whether a Democrat will pull off a massive upset and whether that will cause other MAGA Republican Congress members to resign. And we're hearing that other resignations are imminent. A reminder, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like our fact.
They're really good. They're the like Aldi's brand Clubhouse crackers. They're really good. They're really good with like all kinds of cheese. Should have grabbed grapes too. I'll grapes and mozzarella when I go. But they're like salty and buttery. They're really
based reporting leading the way of independent news. You may think you're subscribed, but you may not be. So hit the subscribe button right now. So MAGA Mike Johnson, while he's been panicking about this special election in Tennessee's 7th congressional district set to take place today, he rushes to Tennessee. And while he rushes to Tennessee to go to the 7th congressional district, he's wearing a Trump Pence jacket that says 47 on the side of it. And he comes with his cell phone and he's like, everybody here, I want you to listen to what Donald Trump has to say. So just to remind you, this race in Tennessee features a MAGA Republican candidate by the name of Matt Van Epps. He's MAGA through and through, and he wants to be the decisive vote to push through more of Donald Trump's destructive.
They probably don't have these crackers in the UK because they probably violate like several of your health laws. Like,
agenda, fascist agenda. On the other hand, you have the Democratic candidate, the Tennessee State Representative Afton Bain, and she's running on a pro-democracy affordability platform. So Donald Trump is too scared to show up in the district for fear of getting booed. So
yeah, that's like Trump is forcing countries to take our food, like our beef and our chicken and like our radioactive chips and soda, and like totally trying to dismantle your like health and safety rules that you've been building up over the years, just so he can make a little bit more money off of the tariffs.
he has MAGA Mike go there wearing basically like a Trump jersey. He's wearing a Trump Pence outfit. Then he goes into a safe space, like a very small room, no big crowds like Afton Bain, the Democratic candidate, is drawing. And he picks up his cell phone. He's like, everybody, listen to me. I have Donald on the phone. And then Donald Trump just starts like foaming at the mouth. And he's like, Afton Bain, she hates country music. She hates Christianity, right, MAGA Mike? She hates these things. I want you to watch this. And MAGA Mike just sits there, stands there, just like obedient and dutifully. Listen to Donald. Listen to Donald. By the way, reminder, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Here, play this clip of MAGA Mike.
Remember, he's got a majority of 3. A majority of 3.
Really bad. And I don't know how they recover from this, y'all. All right. Oh. Maybe.
Welcome to the Daily Show. My
No, I should stop. All right. All right, back to some Christmas lo-fi and green stuffing. Green stuffing sounds like something I would eat at Thanksgiving dinner. More videos? No! You can't trick me today. Late, better. I've already moved on. Give me like 15 minutes, I'll forget. Sorry, teacher sent out pictures of class project. Very nice. It was very cute. Blue, you're back. Welcome back, Blue. Did they end up sending everybody home? Did you ask your boss about the vacation time? You know what you should do? Just go on vacation. Just take the vacation. Get paid for it. Just go. Do it. Playing Pokemon Yellow for lunch. Nice. Are you still at Cinnabar Island? I have been grinding out the evolutions. It's been so hard. I don't understand how friendship works or EVs or IVs, and I'm like, okay, what I found was that like you need to get your friendship up to like level 220 in order to evolve EV into an Umbreon. And I need to do that as fast as possible so I can start learning Umbreon based moves. And I'm at like level 12, and the friendship raider person was like, oh, they really trust you, which is like the step right before like level 250. So it's somewhere between like 200 and I think like 249. And so like I'm almost there, but like I don't want to keep leveling it. You gotta get a high friendship and level it up. And yeah, I know that. I've been doing that. I'm just saying I'm having a tough time getting it to happen so fast because there's so many other things that you have to do, especially if you want to get it to level early on. I managed to get a Firestone from one of the people I gave my phone number to. I battled somebody else and took their phone number for the Thunderstone. I'm waiting on the fisherman to call me with the Waterstone. And I have to play during the daytime in order to get an Espeon. But is it like morning or just daytime? Oh, fuck. That went too. Because I saw there's also like a breakdown of time of day. It's just daytime. Caves. What? Leveling Umbreon? I didn't know you could do Espeon. All of Espeon in caves. Why? That Espeon needed daytime. Daytime, no sunlight? I want to get that nasty dirt on my Umbreon. Oh my god. I don't understand. I care more about Espeon than Umbreon. I also like Vaporeon a lot too. I'm pretty good. I'm else good. I like Vaporeon a lot too. That's like one of my favorites of the I think that's like my number one, with Espeon being, or Umbreon being second. Espeon would probably be third. Leafeon would be fourth. Glaceon would be fifth. Flareon would be sixth. Sylveon would be 7. No, Sylveon would be 8th, and Jolteon would be 7th. Be the one about why I train Espeon in case you don't want to get the dirt on for Umbreon, right? Espeon is my favorite, so I gotta be mean. Espeon. Oh, I missed that one. Hold on, where's that one? Oh, I don't. Okay, I see it now. Bitter texted me it up too fast. My bad. So I gotta be mean to Espeon so they learn how to be the world. That's not how Pokemon works. Isn't that how like Gary loses his Pokemon? It was really hard getting out of level 1. Because like I had to go all the way back to like hometown to get any sort of ability to like take one Pokemon out. Once you get to like level 5, you start getting pretty good. But Eevee only has Tackle, Sand Attack, and I think Growl as its opening move. Turns Helping Hand. Maybe it has Helping Hand. But, I like the Sand Attack combo with the Tackle. The opponent starts missing their attacks. Funny. I'm really proud of Espeon. They went to college. Only Evolution that did. Is that like TV show lore? It's my parent lore with my Espeon from Soul Silver. It's a bit I just made up now. Oh. That was only the first one out of these 6. I did have an Espeon that I loved a lot, and it was reliable, and then favorite team. And that Vaporeon that was with. I took her from Pokemon Yellow all the way up to Crystal. Which at that time was a really long time, because Pokemon games were just coming out here in America. No, Boomer coded. I don't have the Christ, there's a Boomer button on my board anymore. Fix that. I call myself a Boomer, or you guys call me a better. Hurts my...
Christ, there's a boomer around here.
A way to fix the pause in the whacking it up. With Blastoids? Yeah. I always feel bad when I walk into a gym and I'm like, oh no. I am too prepared for this. I know you're just trying to do your job. I'm so sorry. Just all this one down here. I did Ivysaur pretty early on. in Gen 1. Touch cheeks, yeah. Ivysaur's not the best in Generation 1. Luckily with Yellow, you get a lot of options with Yellow. In terms of like starter Pokemon. That was probably my biggest surprise when I played Yellow and then I played Fire Red. I was like, oh. I got Mew. Didn't you do a glitch? You said you did some kind of glitch, right? A code exploit, so it's technically part of the game being in the codes. Yeah. Yeah. Heard it before. Well, sometimes I feel like I said this yesterday a little bit, but like GW feels like the Bethesda of the tabletop gaming world. Like, I feel like too many people give them slack because they have one of everybody's favorite franchises for a kid. And they put out, like, garbage tier products for a premium price. And we constantly have to update everything to buy new. And there's, like, a lot of issues with it, but then they just expect the community to deal with it and fix it and not actually do anything themselves. Like, that's what I think of when I think of Bethesda. Bunch of nerd. I actually had to catch it. Bunch of nerds with Pokemon stuff in it. Yeah. You know, sometimes I think you're just LARPing as a British person. Ooh. We love our small indie brandy dub. Yeah, see, that's the other thing too, is everybody follows like Games Workshop or Bethesda like a, you know, an indie brand, but they forget that they're like owned by Microsoft now, you know? Like, people think Bethesda are the little guy. They're not the little guy. They have not been the little guy for a very long time.
Bitter Oblivious 0 and would like to time out Blue.
Rip. Sorry, Blue. I didn't think that was fair. He is Unk after all. Bitter is older than you, therefore he is Unk. That almost kind of reminds me of like the scene from like Emperor's New Groove where she's like, why do we even have that button? I'm not Dorothy. And shortly, yeah, see? Oh, Sorty? I'm sorry, Blue. I agree with you. I am sorry. Oh, wow, that was really bad. Blue, if it helps, Bitter can't type or read, so you have to teach him as his, or no, he has to teach you, I guess. He's Unk. Never mind, that doesn't work. Bitter, you gotta be a better example for our youth. Away. I'm not sorry at all. I'm not sorry, I'm not old. What's funny is when like I was growing up, a lot of people said to like their kids like, oh, don't like have kids until after you finish like everything else you're doing because like
Christ, there's a boomer around here.
time to talk about it when you're older. Or time to do those things when you're older. So it was like, oh, have kids later. And now it's like, just don't have kids or date. Like, just go be your own person. You're older than me? A lot of people are older than you. If I remember correctly, most of this community is older than you. Except for Blue. That is why you're Unk. See what else needs it. Children, all of you. moment, I'm gonna run inside and get some actual food. Actually, my alarm went off 30 minutes ago. I have to set an alarm to remind myself to eat, or else I'll forget to eat lunch until like 3, 4 o'clock when like it's too late and I'm starving. I've got the shakes, and, like, never a good thing. So like I try to make sure I eat. I have alarms for like everything. Fight you all? You don't need to. You pull a muscle. Accept your status.
I drink and I know things.
Bitter Oblivion 0 and would like you to drink something.
Yeah, I'm gonna run inside and get some food in a minute. I just want to finish this one really fast. Not much on it. The biggest issue is this, where everything butts up. What do I want for lunch? Brown jelly? Play with basil and cheese. I feel like I need to make a cup of tomato. I did hydrate. That was my water. Anytime you see a container this big or larger, this is always water. E. And yes, I'm steeping it extra long. Fuck you, fight me. Alright. Back up. Bake. Fry. Alright, I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna grab, I think, a peanut butter and jelly and some fruit. There. Oh, I have applesauce out here. Oh, I don't know. Alright, I'll be right back. Where's the BRB screen? There it is.
Your underscore pal underscore blue 69 says, bitter rolled.
I brought so much food in. I made a peanut butter and jelly. I grabbed 2 cookies, and I brought some honey trail mix. And that's from home. Trail mix. Trying to be a little bit better about my eating habits. Alright. Housekeeping. Right. Can't wait to watch something when it's on the Just Chatting screen. I want to watch this FT signifier video so bad, but I think I'm gonna have to watch it off the clock. He got flagged real hard He was a good here's some New Jersey.
We turn now to a follow-up on a story that broke during our show yesterday. A federal appeal.
Yes, more videos because
Court has upheld a ruling disqualifying Alina Habba from serving as acting U.S. attorney in New Jersey. In a 32-page decision released yesterday, the Third Circuit Court of Appeals found Habba's appointment violated the Federal Vacancies Reform Act, adding the effort to install Habba ran afoul of the law. The challenge was brought by 3 criminal defendants after a lower court had already ruled her appointment unlawful. Attorneys say the decision reinforces that presidents must follow statutory requirements for key federal posts. Let's bring in former state attorney for Palm Beach County, Dave Ehrenberg. Let's start at the beginning here, and also what ultimate consequences this may have for other people in other similar positions. But what was unlawful about her appointment?
Good to be with you, Mika. Well, first, as far as other decisions like the Lindsay Halligan ruling, this is somewhat similar in that both courts found that Trump can't do an end round around the appointment rules and take powers away from the Senate. And although this Third Circuit ruling is not binding precedent for the Halligan appeal in the Fourth Circuit, it's a 3-0 ruling with 2 Republican-appointed judges there, and it creates a strong persuasive authority that spells, I think, doom for Halligan's appeal. There are different facts and different statutes here. Halligan's case involved 28 U.S.C. 546. It's the 120-day rule that you can't piggyback on when you appoint an acting U.S. attorney. Habba's case involved the FVRA, as you correctly said. It's a general statute for almost all high-level Senate confirmed positions. The Habba court ruled that Habba didn't qualify as a first assistant in the office to be eligible for promotion to acting U.S. attorney under the FVRA. So what Trump tried to do, he tried to designate Habba as a first assistant to the U.S. attorney after the top job had become vacant and after Habba had already been nominated and withdrawn for the top job. And the Third Circuit said no to this gamesmanship, that only the first assistant in place at the time of the vacancy can assume acting status. And you can't be an acting official if the president had already nominated you for the top job, even if it was withdrawn. So the rules here were designed to prevent exactly what Trump was trying to do here. You know, Mika, the courts have a lot of tough cases in front of them. This was not one of them.
So it seems like, Dave, they went through a lot of machinations to install her in that job illegally. What, or they could just follow the law and do it the way you're supposed to do it. Are there other...
Why would we do that in today's America? Following the law, that's for poor people.
Attorneys are in similar positions, or other people within Department of Justice that are acting the same kind of acting role that could have, this case could have further implications, or there could other cases.
That's like the #1 rule of America. Only poor people can commit crimes.
Could be brought against other acting Trump administration officials.
Yes, the one I'm watching is the one in New York where Trump appointed a loyalist to investigate Tish James for what she did to Trump, which is that lawsuit she filed that was successful. And there is a court hearing about whether the subpoena...
Follow the law in this economy? Yeah. That's essentially what it boils to.
Is that acting U.S. attorney filed would be quashed, meaning eliminated. And I think the courts are going to rule to eliminate those subpoenas. So it's not a good day if you were an acting U.S. attorney appointed by Trump for purposes of vindictive prosecution. But this is Trump being hoisted by his own petard. I mean, the only legitimate long-term solution here is for the president to submit nominees who can be confirmed by the Senate. Trump understands the rules. It's why he wants to undo the whole blue slip process. The reason why he doesn't go through the Senate, he knows that the local senators, the 2 senators from these blue states, whether it's New York or Virginia, they would block the nominations of these individuals under Senate rules. And so the real problem here is that Trump is insistent on nominating loyalists to these positions who will carry out his goals of retribution. But his political enemies, in the end, seem to be having the last laugh.
Former state attorney for Palm Beach County, Dave.
I don't think this is very funny, sir. Sir. Excuse me. None of this is a joke. New good Drew Gooden video that's a half-hour long. Yeah. You got me.
I feel like for the past 3 years, I've heard over and over again that a recession is about to hit. The stock market is going to crash. The housing prices are going to come back down to earth any day now. And yet somehow all of these things keep not happening. And for most people, it doesn't make sense. What do you mean the economy's good? My dentist just tried to get me to sign up for a credit card. Since the pandemic, the cost
Time to spiral again. Yup. Also, I posted the link in the chat.
of living has skyrocketed, inflation is out of control, groceries have never been more expensive, layoffs a crippling debt than it is alarming rate. Out of control, groceries have never been more expensive, layoffs are happening at an alarming rate. At this point, a college degree might be more likely to get you into crippling debt than it is to help you find a job. And even if you have savings, you're more than likely one stroke of bad luck away from losing it all to medical bills. And yet some people will look you right in the eyes and tell you, I don't know what you're talking about. The numbers are green. Is this guy stupid? The problem is each of these people are kind of correct in their own.
It's what's funny is that I think what's happening and what the crux of this video is going to be is like in the Fallout universe, Vault-Tec made tons and tons of money promoting the end of the world, right? And like feeding off of people's fear about the end of the world. And then they were like, well, this can't go on forever. A lot of people are out of money. Like, this has to stop. And like, so they were like, okay, well, already started implementing these experiments into the vaults. Let's just start the experiments. And then they started the Great War, which has always been like assumed that they did. You know, everybody's kind of been like, yeah, it was definitely Vault-Tec. Very few people have been like, it was the Chinese. It was the Americanas. It kind of was. It was American as in it was Vault-Tec, but
way. This is the best the economy has ever been if you already have money. If you bought a house 5 years ago, there's a chance it's already doubled in value. If you invested in the S&P 500 in 2021, you could be up as much as 80%. And that's not like saying, you know, you'd be rich if you just bought Bitcoin in 1973. That's just the regular stock market. You didn't need to have some genius level of foresight to be able to do that. You just needed to already have a bunch of cash sitting around. And obviously for the overwhelming majority of people, that is not the case. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're not thinking about the stock market. If you're in your 20s, you haven't even been working long enough to save any money to invest. You don't get to benefit from rising home equity if you don't own a house. The only thing this graph represents to you is how much further away that dream is getting. Right now, the average age of home buyers is 59 years old. What a depressing statistic. This is the problem with an economy that disproportionately benefits asset holders instead of the people still trying to earn them. Wealth grows.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about becoming capital owners. And like not everybody can be a capital owner. There is only so much capital to go around. And when like more and more people start devouring, capitalism is a death cult. That's what it boils down to, is eventually you eat everything up and monopolize so much that it's just you left at the top.
Exponentially, but wages aren't even outpacing inflation, which means if your salary hasn't been going up every year, you're effectively making less money. Meanwhile, the fastest way to make $1 million is to just already have 10 million. Leave it in an investment account for a year and congratulations, you now have $11 million. At a larger scale, this is why it feels like there's two different economies happening and they're both moving in opposite directions. 50% of the stock market is owned by the top 1%, and only 1% is owned by the bottom 50%. Don't let somebody tell you that these numbers going up should discredit your own lived experience. Don't let somebody who's benefited from untaxed inheritance or years of compound interest granting them passive income tell you that your problem is you're just not working hard enough. No,
There's only so many rich boomers left, guys.
the real answer is sorry, you should have been born sooner. Have you thought about that? Maybe instead of wasting all that time farting around kindergarten class, you should have been investing in real estate. It's not my fault you're lazy. People are getting squeezed in every direction while also being gaslit into thinking that it's somehow
A barbecue? Yeah.
our fault. There's CEOs in earnings calls bragging about how they get to make customers pay for inflation so they don't have to. The economy is so bad right now, I'm about to segue into an extremely ill-timed brand deal in a video about greed. You think I like looking like a hypocrite? Of course not. But my avocado toast isn't going to pay for itself. Hi, I'm Upside Down, and I'm here to tell you about today's sponsor, NordVPN. If you're watching this video, you're probably connected to the internet. And if you're not watching this video, how are you hearing this? Anytime you're connected to the internet, especially when you're on public Wi-Fi, you should consider using a virtual private network for an extra layer of security. A VPN creates a nice, warm, encrypted tunnel for all your precious data to pass through as it gets communicated between your devices and the internet, keeping your sensitive information safe from criminals, losers, and especially freaks. But NordVPN takes online security a step further with Threat Protection Pro. All you gotta do is flip it on in the desktop app and it'll block dangerous ads, check your downloading files for malware. It can even warn you if you stumbled onto a fake online shop before you try to buy something that doesn't actually exist. You may think you're way too smart to fall for something like that, but take it from me, it could happen to anyone. You might have also heard that a VPN allows you to unlock websites and content that may be restricted in your area. Just by changing your virtual location in the app, you can essentially trick the internet into thinking that that's where you are, unlocking that show, movie, or YouTube video that randomly got blocked in 98 countries for some reason in the process. If you want to try out NordVPN for yourself with a 30-day money-back guarantee, go to nordvpn.com/gooden for my exclusive deal with 4 extra months added on. You can also get there by clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code on the screen. But don't scan me. It's not gonna do anything. I'm just a guy. Thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. The economy sucks ass for most people right now. The only reason we're not technically in a recession is because the GDP is still going up. But the only reason the GDP is still going up is because of the AI industry. But the only reason that even looks as good as it does is because a handful of companies are just like passing money back and forth. Yeah. But there's no recession. You're hallucinating that. Because the AI...
Yeah, once that AI bubble pops, man, it's going to be rough. They're basically all shitting and pissing in each other's mouths. They're basically human centipeding all the money. And once somebody in that human centipede dies, it's going to be a little rough.
Industry is now single-handedly propping up the entire global economy. There's really only 2 paths forward. Worst case scenario, turns out it is all bullshit. The bubble pops in spectacular fashion. Trillions of dollars of investments cannot get paid out, and everything goes up in flames. Or best case scenario, a few billionaires get even richer. Wait, is that what we're hoping for? All right, you're gonna have to bear with me while I go on another AI rant here. I know I do this like every 6 months, but it's not going away. It doesn't count as beating a dead horse if the horse is still alive.
Yeah.
We got to kill that horse first. People largely do not like AI and are worried about the future it imposes. It's currently being used to make a bunch of promises that almost no one asked for. The main appeal of it comes from corporations who see advancements in AI as a way to further reduce their dependence on human labor. The only thing cheaper than outsourcing jobs is just eliminating them altogether. The wet dream that soils the sheets of every CEO is a company that's somehow run entirely on its own and they can just sit back and collect all the profits for themselves. No more dealing with pesky labor laws or health insurance or can I have Saturday off? My family died. No! Shut up. That's the eventual goal and why they're all pouring billions of dollars into NVIDIA chips and data centers and cool shirts for Mark Zuckerberg. And in the meantime, we're stuck with ChatGPT, a humanized Google search designed to affirm whatever belief you share with it, even if it's incredibly dangerous, or generative video apps that are already being used to trick people into thinking something happened that didn't actually happen. Awesome technology. I'm so glad this exists. And I think the best thing we can do to fight back against AI is to simply not engage with it. The problem is, even if you don't use these tools, if you live in certain parts of the country, you might be paying for them. There's been a lot of really good investigative journalism done on all these new data centers that are popping up around the country, who's funding them and who's getting screwed over in the process. For example, some residents in New Jersey who noticed that their power bill kept going.
Jersey mention!
We're from Jersey, baby.
going up, even though they were actually using less electricity than usual? Well, it turns out it's due to an overall supply cost. Basically, when the total amount of electricity usage in an area goes up, power companies tend to pass those higher costs onto their customers. And for the past several years, electricity usage has been skyrocketing, with over half of that increase coming solely from data centers. Your utility bill is going up because Elon Musk wants to pretend to have a girlfriend. You see, AI doesn't just exist in some—
When I saw that video, I was like, oh my God, why does she look like Grimes? It looks like all of his exes combined.
theoretical space. It has to be trained on trillions of gigabytes of data, and that data has to be stored in a physical location. To power this, it requires an absurd amount of electricity, which generates an absurd amount of heat, which then requires an absurd amount of water to cool off. Most of these buildings use over 1 million gallons per day, roughly the equivalent of 10,000 people. This would be even more problematic if they were being built in areas where water is extremely scarce. So we should be good as long as we don't build a bunch of them in like the middle of the desert. Whoops. But to be fair, they are extremely efficient about it. They don't just use the water, they also poison it. Every part of this process is wasteful and destructive, and this is only the beginning. AI is still a relatively new phenomenon, so we're only just starting to see the effects of this. But the Department of Energy projects that the percentage of electricity used by data centers could nearly triple in just the next 3 years. And who gets to pay for it? We do. It's hard for me to accurately explain.
Elon took his divorce with Trump bad. Yeah, it hasn't been pretty since then. Like he's just spiraling. I mean, to be fair, they all kind of are. I had to read that 3 times. Oh, it would also help if I could spell. Okay.
Express how infuriating this is. The giant buildings that power this stupid fucking technology are being subsidized by people who just happen to live near them. Oh, but hold on, because they're technically contributing to the operating costs. So does that mean that they get to share in the eventual profits? No, of course not. They're more like involuntary investors, doing it for free. Or really, worse than free, because a lot of them are being kept awake at night by the deafening hum endlessly emitting from the factory shoved into the backyard of their homes that have now surely plummeted in value as a result. But hey, at least they're doing all of this to make a product that hopes to replace 80% of humanity. It's not enough that these people already own everything they could ever want. They could so easily afford to pay for these things without even noticing that that money is gone. But why would they do that when they could simply have poor people pay for it instead? Because nothing will ever be enough for them. You know, when a rich person makes some shady deal to screw over the working class, people will joke that they just need that money to buy their 4th yacht. And like, I
really like that Drew is doing this video because I feel like this is going to hit such a larger audience than like Hassan videos would. And these are all the same talking points that if you're, you know, anti-capitalist, you've been talking about for years.
I even think it's that. They could buy 1,000.
Like, think about people who don't know these things, who like, they've just watched regular Drew Gooden videos or they know him from Vine. Like,
yachts and still not run out of money. They don't want to spend their wealth. They just want it to get bigger. It's the same obsession with seeing number go up that keeps me addicted to old school RuneScape, except the only life that's ruining is my own. What they have is a disease. They have been
I really want to get back to RuneScape. I say that all the time.
Gorged with the blight of insatiable greed, cursed to an endless pursuit of wealth that will never bring them true happiness. I would almost feel bad for them if they weren't actively destroying the world in the process. One of the most frustrating things about this problem is that if you even try to suggest that maybe these guys should just have a little bit less money. Like, you guys can still be rich, whatever. Just turn it down a notch because you're kind of making shit terrible for everybody else. You're treated like you're crazy. No, this is the American way. If you don't like it, then leave. And yet these ideas aren't radical. They're not even new. Most people who advocate for a more progressive tax system are only calling for a return to something that used to exist in this country. We just forgot about it. So I think it's important.
Yeah, it was like, what, like 50 years ago we used to have like a better Friday. Oh, crow. Sorry, school text. Okay. I've never played RuneScape. Is that one of those old people games? JK.
Important to do a little history
I'm not
lesson
even
here.
gonna acknowledge that. But like, yeah, some of these talking points or some of these like ideas were happening in the country in the 30s and 40s. And like most of the people who benefited from them are dead or dying or boomers.
If you can believe it, there was a time where the working class in this country actually had it really good, and it was
It was just after, it was called the Progressive Era. Oh my God,
Christ,
wait.
there's a boomer around here.
Okay, guys, is he gonna say the Progressive Era or is he gonna say like the 1990s? Is he gonna be the 1930s? Okay, take your guesses. Progressive Era, pre-World War II America. Actually, probably 1950s. Well, whatever. We'll say 1950s America or 1828. No, no. All right, yeah, sure, we'll go with that. Yeah, 1828. Oblivion. What's your guess on the year he's about to spit? And then I'll lay out mine. 1869. Nice. I'm going to say 1908. We're doing Price is Right rules.
Mostly because things got so bad during the Great Depression that the government was worried about the country collapsing. Thousands of banks had closed, millions of people lost their entire life savings, unemployment peaked at 25%. So in fear of a revolution happening, the government was like, all right, fine, we'll give you livable wages. Just please put that musket down. I don't like the way you're looking at me. So the New Deal was born, and with it came
Oh, okay.
Social Security, better labor standards, the right to unionize, a national minimum wage, an 8-hour workday. And over the next 2 to 3 decades, America became the most prosperous country on earth. Productivity skyrocketed and wages rose with them. Extra profits weren't just redistributed to employees, but their employers were proud to do it. They would brag about how lucrative it was to work for them. Look, 37% of profits went to our employees last year because this is a team effort, and when we win, they win. In 1943, Johnson & Johnson puts out this mission statement that's like, here's our list of priorities in order. Customers number 1, we got to make good products. Employees number 2, everyone who works here needs to feel valued and respected. Our community number 3, we all want to live in a better world, and as a company of our size, we feel like it's our responsibility to contribute to that however we can. And finally, all the way at the bottom, our shareholders can just have whatever's left. Of course, we need to make a profit to survive and grow, but that should just come naturally as a byproduct of focusing on these 3 tenets. Compared to modern corporate standards, this is all such a foreign concept that it almost sounds like it's coming from a fictional universe. But this actually happened.
Communism.
This was just America 70 years ago. Now, during this time, what do you think the tax just gonna leave? First of all, no, the only life that's ruining is my own. Greed. I would almost feel obsessed. One of the most else, you're treated like you're crazy. I would brag about how here because you got to make good products. Number 3, we all want to live in a better world, and as a company of our size, we feel like it's our responsibility to contribute to that however we can. And finally, all the way at the bottom, our shareholders can just have whatever's left. Of course, we need to make a profit to survive and grow, but that should just come naturally as a byproduct of focusing on these 3 tenets. Compared to modern corporate standards, this is all such a foreign concept that it almost sounds like it's coming from a fictional universe. But this actually happened. This was just America 70 years ago. Now, during this time, what do you think the tax rate was on the wealthiest Americans? For reference, in 2025, the highest income tax bracket is supposed to be around 24%.
Keep trying to ruin the order posting.
But because of how many ways there are to circumvent the rules, it often ends up being as little as 3%. For someone like Elon Musk, who doesn't take a salary from Tesla and instead just owns a large percentage of its stock, as long as he doesn't sell any of that stock, then technically there's no income to tax him on. Now, he can still leverage the value of those stocks to make purchases, you know, like how money works, but it's still not taxable because of the rules. This is how people like him and Jeff Bezos can be, in terms of net worth, 2 of the richest people on the planet, and in some years pay $0 in taxes. In the middle of the 20th century, the tax rate on the ultra wealthy was not 3% or 20% or even 50%. It was between 70 and 94%. It honestly sounds crazy, but even a lot of the people being taxed understood that it was necessary for society to continue to exist. And having a strong middle class
What happened to people, man? What happened?
was a crucial investment into the future of the country. But I don't know, man. I just think it's kind of interesting that during what's referred to as the golden age of capitalism, the government did a bunch of socialism. During the period of time that birthed the idea of the American dream, the government was taxing the absolute shit out of the richest Americans and using that money to provide jobs and welfare programs for everybody else. A single income household working a regular ass job could afford to start a family, buy a house, send their kids to college, and retire at a reasonable age. No wonder people who grew up then gush about capitalism the way they do, because for them, it was great. But at this point, it is disingenuous to use that time period as the example for why capitalism works, because that version of it stopped existing a long time ago. The generation of people who started as beneficiaries of a more equitable system changed the rules once the roles were reversed.
Orange Lantern Corp took over the government. It was long before then.
And they had the power. So what the hell happened? Everything was going great. What changed? Well, there were a lot of things, obviously, but one of the first big dominoes was the US's involvement in the Vietnam War, which was expensive and deadly, but to be fair, also accomplished nothing. And this had long-term ramifications. America had been diverting so much money away from manufacturing and towards defense that it opened the door for other growing industrialized countries to surpass them. More and more products were becoming cheaper to import than they were to produce. This led to factories getting shut down, unemployment starting to creep back up. A recession hits, and we're now facing a pivotal fork in the road in the late 70s. Either we could go back to what worked in the past, prioritize the working class, reinvest into our own infrastructure, try to help lift people out of poverty they've fallen into through no fault of their own. Or we say, fuck the government. We don't owe you shit. We're stupid, isn't that right? I don't even know my own name. Exactly. The deal is you pay taxes and we don't do anything. And you like that, right? They like that? Sounds good to me. The prevailing philosophy throughout the 80s became trickle-down economics. The logic being, oh man, these rich people are really handcuffed. You know, I bet if we lowered the corporate tax rate from 70 all the way to eventually 28%, then companies will use all that extra money to pay their employees more. I mean, if there's one thing we know about rich people, is that they're always looking out for the little guy. Now, for some reason, this hasn't worked out yet, but it's only been 55 years, so the jury's still out. See, I would argue that part of the reason why companies in the 40s and 50s were so generous with their extra profits was because the tax rate was so high. I mean, think about it. If you're faced with the decision between giving a huge chunk of money to the government or redistributing it back to the employees who helped you earn it in the first place, you would be much more likely to do the latter, because it's an investment in your own company. It's a mutually beneficial exchange. Well-compensated workers are proven to be more loyal and more productive, and those are two things that you want. Now, there were other factors as well, loosening a lot of anti-monopoly regulations, the legalization of stock buybacks, but this dramatically lower tax rate is a big reason why the 80s serves as the dividing line on just about every economic graph you could look at. This was the beginning of a long and continuous transfer of wealth from the working class to the top 1%. And while it would be very easy to just blame all of this on then President Reagan, that would only be mostly true. Sure, this new approach opened the door for more exploitation and greed, but you
I know this video is like not done yet. This is a great video. This is really explaining what a lot of like leftist YouTubers have been trying to talk about. And okay. Sorry. Hobby made me coffee. All right. But like this is like really, really good. And he's not considered like a bread tuber. At least I don't think he is. Like he's not like overzealous or Noah Samson. You know, he's Drew Danny Curtis. So like hearing him talk about this, I think it's fantastic. I think it's absolutely wonderful. I love that he's using his platform to talk about topics that like all of us leftists have been talking about.
still needed a few scumbags willing to go through that door for the evolution to be complete. And nobody sprinted through it faster than one man. The real-life cartoon villain who designed the blueprint that most modern CEOs are still following to this day. His name was Jack Welch, and he's often referred to as the man who broke capitalism. During his tenure as CEO of General Electric, he turned the once quintessential American company that reshaped people's lives and supplied hundreds of thousands of high-paying jobs all across the country into a worthless carcass and a joke of a corporation, all while he became one of the richest people on the planet. In the century before Jack Welch took the reins, GE invented things like X-ray machines, jet engines, TVs, radios, and just about any kitchen appliance you can think of. In the 1980s, Jack invented laying people off. That was his big idea. What if we just fire a bunch of people? And then we don't have to spend as much money. It seems so simple and obviously very commonplace today, but before Jack, companies were not doing this. It was almost seen as un-American to fire somebody unless you absolutely had to. But Jack didn't think like everybody else. He was a pioneer. He bravely instituted the rank and yank system, where every year the bottom 10% of employees would get laid off no matter what. Not because they all deserved to be fired, but just because they fell on the wrong side of a spreadsheet. What's that? You were 3 years away from retirement and now you no longer qualify for pension? Okay. Then die. And to be clear, the layoffs were also not because the company wasn't profitable. It very much was, but it just wasn't profitable enough. See, when you routinely shut down entire facilities, you uproot thousands of lives, you create a toxic and selfish work environment where loyalty is replaced with fear, and if you're a company with the size and influence that GE had at the time, you can almost single-handedly destroy any semblance of a middle class across all of America. But this number gets a little bit bigger. So it's kind of a fair trade. GE was at the forefront of this countrywide philosophical transition from an economy that cared about making things and rewarding the labor it took to do so, to an economy that only cared about shareholder value and would prioritize anything it could to make that number go up. But the thing about the stock market is it's mostly just about perception. As long as something seems to be growing in value, then people will be more likely to invest in it, which will in
like
turn cause it.
Real estate. So here in Jersey, I've worked with a couple real estate offices. And typically what I find is that they have somebody who's called like an appraiser come out, and they're usually like third party, come out and they appraise the property. But like a lot of real estate agents also appraise on the side. And like a lot of them just kind of make up numbers. It doesn't matter if like your granite countertop was $10,000 or $20,000. They're just gonna add $50,000 because it's a countertop. Okay. The numbers are all made up, and they always go up and up and up and up. And like that's why the bubble got big in 2008. That's why the bubble's big now. That's why like there's a huge bubble in uh AI because things are just they're just appraised for whatever number people want to hear, you know?
It to be more valuable, even if it shouldn't be. A lot of what Jack did during his time as CEO did not make the company better, but it did make it bigger. And in the eyes of Wall Street, that was all that mattered. I mean, come on, a business that relies on something boring like selling products can only grow so much. But a company that's constantly acquiring other companies simply has no ceiling. I mean, they could be worth infinity dollars when you think about it. So that's what they did. Over the next few decades, GE bought and sold hundreds of companies, and Jack was lauded for his brilliance because from the outside, everything seemed to be working. I mean, sure, they were becoming a bloated, nonsensical hodgepodge of unrelated businesses, eroding the company's infrastructure and prioritizing constant quarterly gains over any long-term sustainability, but no one gives a shit because the stock price has never been higher. They've stumbled upon an infinite money glitch. They're just alchemizing value out of thin air. It gets to a point where the company founded by Thomas Edison doesn't even make their own light bulbs anymore. It's cheaper to get them somewhere else. Who cares? All they care about now is their ballooning financial division. They're issuing high interest loans. They become a massive holder of subprime mortgages, a famously good investment to make in the early 2000s. Literally whatever it took to juice the numbers, that's what they would do. After about 30 years of short-term decisions that received instant gratification from shareholders but were gradually making things worse for the company and its dwindling number of employees, GE had become severely overvalued. And it wasn't until right after Jack retired with his $400 million severance package where his successors stepped in and were like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. The time bomb Jack planted explodes in their faces and GE spends the next 20 years slowly bleeding out. And at this point, they couldn't fall back on just like selling microwaves because they'd been cutting corners on production so long that nobody wanted to buy any of their shitty garbage anymore. And of course, they had fallen way too far behind on innovation because they spent all their money on acquisitions instead of research. By 2021, the company that helped bring electricity to America was mercifully laid to rest, split into 3 separate institutions, none of which have come close to the dominance or influence that GE once had over the American economy. But here's the thing. You know who isn't affected at all by the cataclysmic downfall of General Electric? Jack Welch, because he's dead now. He already got to live his entire life of luxury and adoration without ever having to deal with the fallout caused by his actions.
They never do. Trump's never going to have to deal with the fallout of his actions. He's going to pass peacefully in his sleep, and they're going to blame leftist, Marxist, transgender immigrants, and like he'll never see the repercussions of his actions. And that's always how it is with like some of the world's most awful people.
He took control of a building with a rock-solid foundation and just kept scrapping it for parts until the only thing left for it to do was collapse under its own weight. But by that point, he was long gone. I believe that this is the goal of those who now follow in his footsteps. They don't need to care about whether or not what they're doing is harmful or unsustainable. As long as the facade can be maintained long enough for them to reap the rewards, it doesn't matter that the ship is sinking behind them because they have a lifeboat. It doesn't matter that America's spent the past 60 years exporting all its jobs and decimating the economies of small towns all across the country because a few hundred people responsible for those things already got to live long, happy lives. They don't give a shit. This cutthroat corporate culture that Jack pioneered is still seen all around us today, and through the magic of time, it's only getting worse. CEOs make $1,000 every second, while their employees have to piss in water bottles so they don't fall behind. Routine layoffs, regardless of if a company is even struggling, are so normalized that it's just something we've come to expect. The stock market rules the world. Every major decision is dictated by this inherently volatile and short-sighted metric, and look at where that's gotten us. Millions without jobs, an enshittification epidemic, and a concentration of wealth that should be seen as a threat to humanity. Even while owning everything, billionaires live in fear of losing it, so they weasel their way into politics, they influence elections, they buy policy changes, they use their wealth to reshape the world to benefit them even further. They try to control narratives by buying up news outlets, outlets. They can dictate what's on our social media feeds. They spend an enormous amount of resources on pitting us all against each other, so we're too distracted to see that the real problem is them.
Should the human race survive?
Everything kind of sucks right now, and as a result, most people are justifiably pretty angry. But for media outlets and politicians, that anger is their single most powerful tool because they can tell you where to direct it. And they don't even really care who it is, so long as it's not them. That's why it changes all the time. Sometimes it's trans people, sometimes it's immigrants. Most recently, it's been poor people. There's been this whole war going on over food stamps because when the government shut down, 42 million Americans lost access to SNAP benefits. Now that's an objective piece of information, an inarguable statistic, but depending on how it's presented to you, it may lead you to draw a drastically different conclusion than somebody else. For some, it might put into perspective how dire the situation has gotten. Like, surely there's underlying issues with a system that's allowed 12% of its population to be unable to afford food. Alternatively, you might hear that and think, wait a minute, my tax dollars are paying for these greedy freeloaders? I'm busting my ass over here to barely make ends meet, and these leeches are using my money to buy cookies? That's not fair. And all it takes is highlighting a story or two of someone taking advantage of the system to make you think there's this rampant issue, that you're expected to feed all of these people with money you barely have enough of to feed yourself. This narrative has been used since the 70s because it's very effective. You work hard, they're lazy, this program is bad. It's easier than ever now to push this narrative because you can just AI generate a video of a fat lady screaming in Walmart and get everyone pissed off. But in order to properly analyze this, let's take a look at the data. First of all, SNAP only makes up about 1.5% of the overall federal budget. Less than an eighth of what we spend on defense and an eighth of what we spend just on interest on the debt that we owe. By my math, cutting this program would only save the average taxpayer a couple $100s a year. And of course, that's assuming that if they were to cut it, they would send you a refund in the mail. No, I'm pretty sure they would still take the same amount, but instead of reinvesting it into the economy, which is what SNAP ultimately does, they would just buy some more missiles or send a pile of cash to Argentina. Second of all, by definition, the majority of SNAP recipients fall under the umbrella of elderly, disabled, veterans, full-time caretakers, or just temporarily unemployed. Remember, not everybody who isn't working does so because they don't want to. It is very hard to find and keep a job right now. The fact that SNAP spending ebbs and flows so close.
I stopped working originally because my pregnancy with my youngest was too rough. And then I tried to get unemployment and I couldn't get unemployment. And then I applied for a bunch of jobs and I didn't get hired anywhere. And then it was, okay, well, I might as well just stay home with the kids rather than spending my entire paycheck on daycare. So I did that, and now my youngest is in school and I'm still applying to other jobs. I've had a few interviews. I haven't gotten anything. And so I'm still doing this. I always want to but I'm not going to sit at home and not do anything all day. I'm going to sit here and either educate people or talk to people or do fun stuff and cheer people up or distract people. Like, I don't want to just sit inside all day. That sounds boring. So yeah. But not everybody like has that ability. But I would love to go back to work. I would love to work somewhere. I'd love to work during the day and then stream at night.
Closely with the overall state of the economy should be proof that this program is primarily used for temporary relief. Even still, many of the people on SNAP do work, and about 70% of the ones that do work full time. That doesn't seem like a laziness problem, that seems like a wage problem. They need supplemental income to survive because of how little they're being paid. Of those full-time employees, their two most common employers were McDonald's and Walmart, who combined to earn $23 billion in profits last year. $23 billion, and you're telling me they can't afford to pay their employees enough so that they don't need government assistance? See, what that means is you wouldn't have to help pay for these.
People have been saying that about Walmart for a really long time, but McDonald's is a newer target.
People's food if their employer, a nearly $1 trillion corporation, just paid them a livable wage. You're more upset at the people using the program than the companies who have put them in a position where they even need it in the first place. Also, Walmart double dips here. The majority of food stamps are redeemed at Walmart. So not only do they save money by underpaying their staff, but their revenue then gets subsidized by this program. Because that's where people tend to use it. Final statistic, about a third of SNAP recipients, over 12 million of of them
I
are
smashed my-
children. What's
You
the
smashed my finger? Oh no, are you okay? Ooh, don't tell me anything more.
argument
Tell me if you're
there? Are they
okay.
not working hard enough? What, you don't want to get a job just because you're 7? Like, can we stop for 1 second to think about what you're saying here? You have let somebody convince you that in this situation, the only way to make your life better is if 12 million children starve. So I want to ask, who is more to blame here? A bunch of kids who got born into poverty, or CEOs with more money than anybody could spend in 1,000 lifetimes who expect you to solve the problem that they helped create? For some people, it doesn't matter what you say about capitalism, they will still go to war for it, even if it's not working for them. Statistically speaking, it's probably not. They'll try to criticize a multi-billionaire who's not paying enough taxes, and people will defend them like, hey, it's not their fault. They're just taking advantage of loopholes like any smart business person would. And you're like, okay, so then we agree there's a problem with the rules, right? If they're just exploiting the system, then maybe the system shouldn't be so easy to exploit. We've reached a point where a lot of the core principles of a free market no longer apply. Like the idea that you can vote with your dollar. I get to pick which businesses I support, therefore the best ones will succeed and the worst ones will fail. Yeah, except when one company is allowed to corner the market and price out all their competition, suddenly there isn't any.
And we would have small businesses tell us if they walked into a Walmart or a Costco, the retail price at those stores, the price on the shelves at those stores is lower than the wholesale price a small business is.
Yes, that was happening at the game store. We would go to like Walmart and we would see their boxes for like new sets at like $89 a box versus like what we had to pay was $89. So then of course we have to mark it up at least 20%. To get any like sort of ability to like not even make a profit to meet ends meet.
Getting. And so there are huge disparities here.
And that's now feeding into itself, right? The more dire the economy is for everyone, the less freedom they have when they're deciding what to pay for. Amazon is certainly not the only place to buy things, but historically speaking, it's almost always the cheapest and most convenient. So how do you convince somebody who's also been forced to pinch pennies due to their own circumstances that they need to spend more time and money buying that same thing from a local mom and pop shop when they could just click 3 buttons and have it magically appear at their door in 3 hours? It's not even really fair to impose that because that person is also struggling. But then the cycle continues. The small business closes, Amazon and Walmart extend their reach even further, and once all competition is defeated, then they can just raise the prices to be whatever they want. They can train an algorithm to charge you the maximum price they think you'll pay at any given moment. Now, one of the most common counter-arguments you'll hear if you bring up the idea of raising taxes on the ultra-wealthy is that, well, if you do that, they're just gonna leave. First of all, no, they're not. That's a bluff they've been using for years, perpetuated by media networks owned by, you guessed it, rich people who don't want their taxes to go up. Sure, a few of them might leave, but the kinds of people who are willing to go to the trouble of moving their entire business from New York City to like Kissimmee, Florida, are probably already doing everything they can to avoid paying any taxes at all. It doesn't seem like a very productive mindset to cater to this parasitic minority at the expense of everybody else. Second of all, oh my God, can we grow some fucking balls here?
You don't understand. They're not gonna like it if we raise their taxes.
Do you hear yourself? Do you hear how pathetic you sound? Okay, so what, we can't do anything then? That's it? It's over, they won? Your plan is that we should just give up and let the billionaires have whatever they want. Buddy, we've already tried that, and that's not working either. Third of all, this criticism is predicated on an idea that taxation essentially has a bell curve to it, where after a certain rate, your overall revenue actually decreases because people will lose the incentive to work as hard or, like you're saying, move away. With this in mind, there have been studies done by economists who believe that every country has its own ideal rate for maximum efficiency. However, the implication that raising taxes would cause the overall revenue to go down would only be true if we were on the tail end of this bell curve, and we are nowhere close to that. So if your main concern is to maximize total revenue, it's pretty clear which direction we should be moving in. Otherwise, the very metric your point is referencing contradicts the argument you're trying to make. Now, even having said all of that, I'm not going to sit here and act like just raising taxes is an immediate fix to all of our problems, because we'd still have to rely on elected officials to actually use that money in a sensible way. I'd be happy to contribute more if I knew it was going going to better healthcare or nicer parks or public transportation. But if my money's just going to be used to blow up a hospital on the other side of the world, then yeah, maybe I'd rather just give it to a food bank. I don't know all the answers because at the end of the day, no matter how hard I try to expand my legacy beyond it, I'm still just the road work ahead guy. But I do know that this amount of wealth inequality that's showing zero signs of slowing down anytime soon is not sustainable. Turns out that actually every single thing in the world becoming a for-profit commodity, from housing to healthcare, is just a way to enrich a few people at the cost of many. And I have to wonder if we've finally reached a point now where the greed has gone too far, that it's now so impossible to ignore that no amount of gaslighting about how the economy is good actually will convince people who are dying because they can't afford to go to the doctor that this is just how life should be. History shows that unfortunately sometimes things have to get worse before they can get better, and if this is what it takes for a return to class solidarity, then I guess at least we're closer to that than we've been in a long time. We just need to put down our phones, set aside our differences for a little bit, and unite on this one issue. They want us divided because they're afraid of how strong we would be if we stood together. Do not fall for it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go argue on Reddit about how Ghost of Yote is woke because they didn't make the main character hot enough for me. Thank you for watching.
That was a great video. Oh man, I want to check out the comments. Not only is the average home buyer 59, it's up from 39 20 years ago. So yeah, it's the same fucking people buying houses again. Yup. Ever since I was a little child, I knew I wanted to sacrifice my life for shareholder value. Sometimes you open YouTube, see Drew Gooden talking about taxing the ultra rich, and think, I picked the right guy to watch when I was 16. Yeah. I told my mom that my friend couldn't afford to feed her 2 kids because Snap was shut down, and her immediate response was, why isn't she working? She is. She's working 3 jobs with 2 small kids. What else is she supposed to do? The older generation still believes that hard work is all it takes to succeed. So if we're not succeeding, we must not be working hard enough. At the same time, rich because they worked harder than everyone else. It's frustrating as hell, but also a difficult mindset to break away from, because at least there's the illusion of fate being in your hands and not society being destroyed by something else completely outside your power. Incredible video. Thanks for making this. Yeah, 100%. Class consciousness Christmas. I will always love how your uploads jump from haha funny bad movie to our society is crumbling in front of our eyes and I feel helpless to stop it. I think he feels less helpless than this comment because at least he feels like he has a platform to talk about these things. That's like more than like most people. Getting radicalized by the road work ahead guy at 3 p.m. on a Monday. Gotta kill the horse first. Goes so hard. Please never stop speaking about AI. I feel like people are starting to normalize it a bit too much, so it's always nice to hear someone discuss it rationally. He's fed up. Pretty wild how the CEO once led one of the biggest innovating companies ended up getting rewarded for completely running it around. Yeah. Drew in 2017. Look at the silly way they cut this bagel. Drew in 2025. The world is doomed and evil will pay for it. The evil will pay for their sins. Oh man, I love these comments. They're great. All right. Right. A half hour. All right. all I'm doing is one last look over of the green stuff, and then we'll do sanding tomorrow night. Wednesday, or no, Saturday I'll be streaming during the night. Because it's Streamer Awards. And Sunday is my birthday. So I will be streaming for then too. Me. We're out of wood now. Yeah, it's 1:30. You were right the first time. I don't usually run out of wood. That's not a problem I experience in my house. looking forward to playing some Pokemon. Oh, it's December. I gotta play some Animal Crossing. It's a new month. I need the last bug. Must complete the bugs. I won't be able to complete the fish until freaking March. The pier fish are so hard to catch. So frustrating. Better. Like, the only chore I have left to do today is putting away my clean laundry. Outside of that, it's just, I'm making green eggs and ham for dinner tonight. We have leftover ham from, like, the day before Thanksgiving. And I'm gonna cook that up on the cast iron with some eggs that I'm gonna make green. And I think I'm gonna make waffles too. Mostly because, like, I usually make a huge, like, pre-batch of chocolate chip waffles. Get me through, like, a week. I was gonna do those soon, so I might as well make waffles for dinner too. You know. How much? That's cool. Go. Oh, so there's like a new streaming schedule up. I put it up over on my schedule section, and I'll be posting it on Discord too, like week, case like thing. But basically I stream Sunday to Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Friday during the day. Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday at night. Can't keep up with it, that's okay. But like, I didn't want to sit inside and do nothing all day Tuesday because all my chores are done. But like, usually Tuesday is my free day, and I'd rather sit out here than stream. And if I need to take a day off, Tuesday can be the day I can take off. Schedule my doctor's appointment. pretty early in the day, so I know I get home with enough time to get kids off the bus. A lot of the like the spots I see, I'm like, that could be fixed with some. Or like, oh, if I paint this, you wouldn't even. I can't believe it's taken this much green stuff to like get to a point where I'm like, okay, these feel well hidden enough that I don't think if you were judging them, notice them. I think I'm happy with it. I think I'm happy with how all of them. So I'm getting out of here in about 10. What I am gonna do is clean up my work I don't need. Might spend the last 10 minutes clipping. Get that like done and over with. Oh, I took the clippers inside. Never mind. Or this one. I might have to bring more files out. moment I'm gonna raid out. You know what? I'm gonna raid out. Well, I'm gonna see if there's anybody. At a totally different time of the day, so a lot of my I read into. Alright, here's the raid into Reeby Ron. What's he playing? Helldivers! My goodness. Alright. Please go raid into Reeby Ron. I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful day. My goodness. Alright, bye everybody.